democratized talent and given wing to small entrepreneurs, micro entrepreneurs. So, for example, when we were young, we would hear songs sung by Kishore Kumar, Lata Mangeshkar, Mohammed Rafi. These were just the three or four singers that were all there. They had monopolized Bollywood singing until then. But now you can put up a video on YouTube and reasonably expect a good number of people to follow you. You can have a small kitchen of yours, create some exotic dishes, and put them up on Swiggy, and you could expect that some people will be loving your food and ordering that daily. Marketplaces like Swiggy or an Amazon have done some amazing work in democratizing talent and giving way to small entrepreneurs. So take the example of an urban clap. In the past, if you wanted to find a plumber, a very good plumber, who may have lived in a very different part of the city as compared to where you stayed, there was no way you could discover this plumber. But because of platforms like Urban Clap and House Joy, you are able to discover plumbers, you're able to discover beauticians, you're able to discover carpenters, and you're able to also figure out how good they are. Because at the end of every service, there is a rating that's provided by a user. So just by looking at users, you're able to figure out whether somebody is good or not. And all of these skill providers, want to upskill and learn new things, because by upskilling, they're able to get business. So in the past, 10 years back, for example, if you had asked people to learn carpentry, learn beautician skills, or learn better plumbing, they wouldn't spend money on it because nothing mattered. Because of the discoverability problem, and because of an inability to distinguish who is a good plumber or a bad plumber, they had no incentive for upskilling. But because of platforms like these, skill levels are also rising. So what the government could not do, to various skilling interventions, the marketplace is beginning to do. Drivers from villages, from the hinterland, from parts of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, coming to cities like Hyderabad and Bangalore, sign up in a driving school, pay money, and learn, because at the end of the job, end of the training, there is a job at either Ola or Uber. And what have these companies done, Ola and Uber? They have ensured that the platform does an amazing match of demand and supply. So these technology platforms have created an amazing way of discovering things. Because of discoverability increase, there is reduction in the friction of doing business or conducting business. So I think this is the biggest accomplishment that online or e-commerce has created. In the process, I think there are also a lot of myths that exist about e-commerce in general. I'll just talk about a few of these myths because it's important to know these myths. The first myth that people have of e-commerce is that e-com is all about cashback and discounts. It's not about cashback and discounts. If an e-commerce business depends on cashback and discounts for too long, then they're not solving a problem profitably, and therefore are unlikely to survive for very long. So just take the case of the same old Uber and Ola. When they came, what did they do? They gave you a lot of discounts, right? You could ride 4 rupees a kilometer, but Meru was charging you 16 rupees a kilometer. They were giving incentives to drivers to do maximum number of rides. And because of these incentives, hundreds and thousands of drivers signed up for this platform, and hundreds of thousands of users began using this platform. So what did it do? It changed the behaviors of consumers. People who were traveling by auto rickshaws, and some of them were traveling by city buses, also began traveling by cabs. So it began to change behavior. In the past, getting a cab was so difficult. You had to plan for it days in advance, and even then you never knew whether you'll get a cab. When somebody told you, you know what, you have to go for an important meeting or go to the airport, and you could rely on an on-demand cab, maybe 15 minutes before your travel starts, nobody would have believed you, but you can do it now. So I think what is happening, if you see, is that they have successfully accomplished a change in behavior. Now the prices are going up. Because of surge pricing and because of peak hour pricing, the prices that these cab companies charge today is even more than what Meru charged in its heydays. So they have changed behavior, got people hooked onto the service, and then begin to gradually increase prices. Having said this, people who are not willing to pay these high prices may even go back to using an auto rickshaw or a bus. But people who got hooked onto the service cannot go back, will continue to use it. So discounts and cashbacks have to be